Let's take a look at Cesar Chavez. You see, this is why Cesar Chavez is important. That's why California has a Cesar Chavez Day. Cesar Chavez is important because through the organizational struggle of the United Farm Workers, they exposed to the national public not only the use of bracero programs to deny civil rights of those present in the United States, but the United Farm Workers exposed the plight of the farm worker, of the migrant worker. Just as Edward Morrow did in 1960, Cesar Chavez is going to continue that struggle. Cesar Chavez is important because under his leadership, the guest worker program was exposed for what it truly means. A way to use international contract labor identified as guest worker programs to break union organizing activities. Whip up the frenzy and the rights are out the window. Deport Mexican union organizers, import immigrant strike breakers. So this process continues, and later on, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to introduce you our modern-day Cesar Chavez, but let's go to a remembrance of Chavez.
When your children and grandchildren take their place in America, going to high school and college, taking good jobs at good pay, when you look at them, you will say, I did this, I was there, at the point of difficulty and danger. And though you may be old and bent for many years of hard labor, no man will stand taller than you when you say, I march with Cesar Chavez.
The Cesar Chavez Walkathon will be a moment for all of us to honor the life, the vision, and the legacy of this extraordinary man. A leader of not only this country's Latino people, but of all Americans who have held the rights of justice and freedom above all else. This walk will be our chance to stand taller than anyone, when at the end of the day, we are able to say, I marched for Cesar Chavez. A man of uncommon vision, Cesar Chavez reached out and touched millions of Americans. His name has become synonymous in this century with the struggle for social justice and change, not just for Mexican Americans and farm workers, but for all Americans. His time was a remarkable moment in American history. Born from humble beginnings, Cesar Chavez was raised on his family's Arizona farm, and he attained no more than an 8th grade education. He was forced to quit school when his family lost their farm during the Great Depression. The family came to California and began a new life as migrant workers. Despite these hardships, Cesar Chavez rose to become one of the most respected civil rights leaders of the 20th century.
Here was a guy whose opinions were created on the job, in the fields, with the people, and evoked a spirit and a challenge to all of us to do what is right for its own sake, to do it so that you're free.
Cesar Chavez envisioned a movement, a crusade that would inspire farm workers, the poorest of America's laborers, to join together to organize themselves, and by doing so, change their lives forever. His vision would become the United Farm Workers of America.
The work of Cesar Chavez is so extraordinary it must not be forgotten. Certainly not with the fights that we continue to have in unsafe conditions and vans without seatbelts transported to put food on our table. It's extraordinary that we still fight these battles.
Chavez also fought for the legal right of farm workers to form their own union, a right enjoyed by other workers in the United States. He fought for the right to have clean drinking water in the fields, the right to have access to bathrooms, the right to stop work and enjoy a simple lunch break. He fought for the right to a fair wage, the right to collect unemployment insurance, and he fought for the right to send their children to proper schools to finish their education. Cesar Chavez challenged the unjust normalcy of that not long ago past, challenged what was then a commonplace injustice, and in so doing, changed the face of America.
He cared about the plight of workers and workers' rights and issues, and he also was the first one to really bring our attention to the perils of pesticides.
He gave a voice to everyone that really needed to be understood.
His would be a hard-fought battle, for he did not promise his followers comfort and ease. What he did promise was hardship, weariness, and suffering, and with these, the promise of victory.
People who have touched our hearts and our souls so well and in such a profound way that we move into a higher level of understanding within ourselves. Names like Gandhi, names like Mother Teresa. Cesar Chavez was this to all of us.
He was a great world leader and fighting the battle of civil disobedience, fasting, and protests that caught the attention of the nation and indeed the world.
There's so few heroes left to us. There's so few people who stand up, who win their freedom personally, who help others to win their freedom at a very high price. I can't think of a more inspirational image than the spirit of Cesar Chavez.
An important part of remembering Cesar's legacy is the walkathon. Every year we gather to remember this great man and remember what successes we've achieved, what struggles remain.
Join us in honoring his cause and his fight, his life and his memory by being part of the Cesar Chavez Walkathon. Come, make a difference. Embrace the legacy.
Okay, that's Cesar Chavez and why he's so important